Well, I'm really pleased to be here in Spain, a place called Les Comas, which is about an hour and a half northwest of Barcelona in Spain. And we're here for KTM's 2017 year model launch for the EXC, EXCF and EXCs. All the 4-strokes now with an F on the end of it, just to delineate them from the new 2-strokes. So really a landmark new range of motorcycles for KTM, and it's actually really hard to know where to start. You can throw out there things like saying, hey, it's a new generation range of bikes, but that's an understatement. It's not just, hey, they've got all new engines or all new frame or all new suspension or all new bodywork, all of the above. They are literally, from the collaboration with Maxxis with the new tyres, right through to the seat and everywhere in between, completely redesigned bikes. So just to put, I guess, a little bit of context around that, we saw last year new generation motocross bikes for KTM, completely new. The emphasis being on, might sound a little bit of a cliche, but more power, more agility, and better handling. But that's exactly what they've done, and the central thrust of achieving those end goals is to reduce vibration on the bikes to make it much more comfortable and a nicer riding experience, but largely to centralise the mass. Huge changes in the way that they've brought the crankshaft axis and the clutch axis back toward the centre of gravity on all the bikes to reap huge handling gains. So those motocross bikes, the 2016 motocross bikes, are essentially the basis of these bikes that we're seeing here today. And that being, essentially 3 families of bike: the 250, 350 cc 4-stroke, the 450, 500 cc 4-stroke, and then the all new, and we'll get to this in a moment, the new 250 and 300 2-stroke bikes. There is a 125 and a 150 XCW wide ratio, limited numbers of which will be coming into Australia. So what are we actually looking at here? As I said, based on those motocross bikes, but it's not just a matter of putting an 18-inch wheel on it, a headlight, and sort of maybe mapping it down to make it give it a more enduro power curve right across the entire range of the 4-strokes. I think every rotating part is completely different between the enduro and the motocross models, and it shows. So we've had some amazing tracks out here today. We've got about 12 or 15 k's of looped out here. Typical Spain. We had some rain last night, but it's dusty and it's rocky, and it's just a brutally honest way to test these motorcycles. We've had a hell of a lot of fun. Suffice to say that they've come forward in a long way. All the 4-strokes, when you consider, for instance, the 450 and 500 have dropped 5 kilos in weight alone. That's aside from more centralised mass. Huge handling benefits. You have a new traction control feature. You have 2 maps on them, and then the 250, 350 have dropped around 3 kilos. So essentially now you've got a 450 that feels like a 350 with more power but easier to use power. And then 250 and 350 bikes, which are just like superb, that feel like mountain bikes. But let's get on quickly here. I'm here with one of the 2-strokes, so the new 250 and 300 cc 2-strokes. Again, same platform, same chassis as the 4-strokes, essentially same chassis and suspension, but a completely new engine. And when you think in a lot of ways that 250 engine's been around, obviously it's been refined, but since the early 90s, this new thing, and the big thing about it, has got a counterbalancer. When was the last time you saw a 2-stroke motor with a counterbalancer? And there is 50% less vibration on the thing. And to tell you the truth, you're on a 2-stroke, it sounds like a 2-stroke, but it's like, what the hell? It just feels so refined, it doesn't feel like a 2-stroke. You have a map switch selector, on both of these bikes, so it's chalk and cheese. It's a new world riding these things. It's very exciting for KTM, and I think the fact that they've actually released these bikes in concert with their new 4-strokes really, I think, underlines the commitment that KTM's made to 2-strokes and their investment into R&D into things in the future. Now, one thing I have kind of skipped over here, and it's certainly by no means unimportant, is completely new suspension. So I think up until KTM had refined their PDS shock, an open cartridge fork, and was probably one of the best packages on the market for trail and enduro. This year, completely new suspension. You've actually got it's called an Explore, so a 48mm from WP, once again, Explore, fork and shock. Open cartridge, basically with split rebound and compression functions in each fork leg. And first impressions of the thing is basically an open cartridge, but a lot better progression and resistance and much better feel. Same on the rear end, and there's a lot of work being done across the board, with the shock, the placement of the shock, the way it mounts, the swing arm, the whole lot. So these are really groundbreaking new bikes. KTM are rightfully proud of what they've achieved here. I think just talking to all the journos here, there's a whole international cast of about 30 journos here today. Everybody's pretty damn impressed with the things. I'll be really interested, sort of like, obviously we're trying to get through sort of 6 or 8 bikes in a day is sort of hard work. but I think we've got enough sense of the thing and got a really good feel, and it's fair enough to say that these things have come forward in leaps and bounds. And I think if you're KTM's opposition, you've probably got a fair bit to think about right now.